Everybody, and welcome to Hard Rock History, Episode 8. This is going to be a good one. I got a special guest co-host, my buddy Tom Coyne over here, but we got a great special guest. This guy, he's got a resume and a half. He's the lead singer of Dangerous Toys, Dirty Looks, Watchtower, Broken Teeth, and he could put on his resume, Accept. And he's the man, the myth, the legend, Jason McMaster. Jason, thank you, brother, for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to chatting with you guys.
So let's start what happened with you last week. You guys were on the Monsters of Rock cruise. How did that go for you?
Man, that is really kind of saving rock and roll in my opinion, because if you're a legacy band and you've been around a while and you're a bit long in the tooth and you don't really tour anymore because it's either too expensive or you don't necessarily have to have a new product out to promote to do this Monsters of Rock cruise or Monsters on the Mountain thing. They do one in Gatlinburg. It's the same thing. It's just on land, and it's in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Monsters on the Mountain. They just call it the Mountain now. Anyway, this culture that they've created is like, I think they do 2 cruises a year, and one in Gatlinburg every year. It's a full-on culture, and for legacy bands, it's something to look forward to, because you're not, it's still a little bit of planes, trains, and automobiles to get to the gig, but it's like a 3-day, the cruise is like, I'll stick to the cruise. It's like basically it's like a 6-day meet and greet.
Right.
Because everyone's approachable. I mean, Zach Wilde sitting in the buffet, and people can just walk up and go, "Zach, what's up?"
You're on one with Steve Harris getting a hot dog.
Same. So it's really great for fans. And, there's never any hassle. Like, the fans are super understanding. Like, don't poke the bear while he's eating.
Right.
So they're still, everyone's respectful.
Right. It's not like you're not going to see the guy in the bathroom maybe later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're always around. So you'll see the same people constantly, no matter what, And say for like Kiss. I've been on the Kiss cruise a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And the only time you see them is either performing, or going to the elevator after performance. Other than that, they have their own section. With their family and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a different situation.
It's like that on the Monsters of Rock cruises. The bigger acts, Queensryche and probably Quiet Riot and definitely Black Label Society, etc. They have their own area of the ship where it's a little bit, but you still see it. They still come down to see the shows. I mean, everybody comes down and watches Loudness play. Everyone loves Loudness, so. It's a family. It's turned into a family, and that's what I'm saying. It's really kind of saving rock and roll, because I don't tour anymore just because it's not. I can't. I come home in the red every time. So these fly dates and stuff like Monsters Rock Cruise and the Mountain and just quality shows that I sign up to play instead of quantity of shows.
Okay.
Because that's the only way to make to pay your mortgage. Otherwise, you're losing. You're just losing. So it's great. It was great. Had a great time. I love Loudness. I saw Loudness. I saw Queensryche. I saw Quiet Riot. I love DAD. I saw DAD. Yeah, it's great. They have a cruiser jam where the cruise, people just are fans who are there. They bring their guitar and they sign up and they get to jam. This year, it was an Ace Frehley tribute. Mm-hmm. So there's a bunch of Kiss tunes, and what it is it's kind of like a fantasy camp deal where the cruisers can sign up and they don't know who they're going to be on stage with. So you could get up and you don't know, hey, we're going to call so and so to the stage, and the next thing you know, half of Queensryche walks up and they're going to play a Pantera song, and some kid with his guitar's going, "Oh my God, I get to play a Pantera song with my favorite band," So it's that kind of a cool vibe, And I did Strange Ways on bass and vocals with Todd Latore on drums from Queensryche,
Oh, that's cool.
and Brandon from Black and Blue on guitar, and this guy Mike, who's a shredding guitar player, who was just there as a fan, and so he didn't even know who he was going to get to jam with, and he's standing there going, "Oh shit," and so it's just fun. They have that kind of stuff. I did stand up comedy for the first time on the boat.
Oh, you were one of
And
them? How did that go?
it was great. Totally different than just fronting a rock band because you don't have Marshall Stacks and your small army standing next to you. You're naked.
How many
And
minutes?
10.
Wow, that's a lot, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I was clocking it at 7 when I was kind of rehearsing it in the mirror, sort of a thing.
Did you tell stories or
Well, it was it's kind of Courtney Cronin and Don Jameson are they sort of run the show, and they've been doing it for years on the ship, and they do it on land now, dude. They have it's a brand. It's called Punchlines and Backlines,
mm-hmm.
and they always have Jim Florentine, Don Jameson's there, Courtney does a set, and then they'll just drag whoever, like Reb Beach from Whitesnake Winger. He's the funniest musician
I
I've
heard he
ever.
killed it.
He's so good, and he tours with them. They'll do like 5 dates in a row with Reb Beach and Toe, and he's so good. And he's just telling real stories about like his dad and shit that are so funny. It's unbelievable. You can't make it up.
That's great.
So there's stuff like anyway. So yeah, Don and Courtney helped me write my jokes. They just basically did a quick Zoom interview with me, and then they wrote down everything I said, and they came back a week later, and everything I said had a fucking punchline on it. So.
So they help you out a little bit, in case
Yeah.
you need. Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah,
Now,
so it was very, very helpful.
how many sets did you guys do on the ship?
There was a punchlines and backlines set, like a show, like every night.
No, Dangerous Toys wise, how many sets? Did
Oh,
you
I'm
do?
sorry.
That's
The
okay.
band. Yeah, we played we played 2 shows.
I saw you did an outdoor show, which it's kind of sucks though. Don't know the heat and what do you give you? They give you 45 minutes to an hour.
We get an hour, and yeah, the indoor show, they were both slamming sets, if I don't say so myself. And
I saw
the
Queen of the Nile, bro. You fucking
nice.
killed it.
Thanks,
Killed
my
it.
man.
You,
Thanks.
your vocals still listen. Honestly, if Guns N' Roses needs a replacement, this is the fucking man you talk to, and it'll sound even better. I feel.
Wow,
You,
that's big words. He said it, not me, folks.
and that's
So
hand to God. That's hand to
nice.
God. And
Well,
you did a new song, "Hold Your Horses."
we've been playing Hangman Boogie, Hold Your Horses for about 5 years in the set, and those are unreleased songs.
Okay,
If I don't say so myself, here we go again. They sound like Dangerous Toys. They are great songs, and
great shit.
we're having fun playing those, and we do have some stuff recorded. Those songs have been recorded but not released yet. I don't really know what we're waiting for. But anyway, that's not on me. I don't wear all the hats. I wear about 20 of them, but I don't wear that one. Anyway, so there's another song we've been playing live called One's Too Many, and that was sort of uncovered, rediscovered when we put out the Cleopatra label release of the Demos album Demolition that came out last year. And so One's Too Many, because we're calling through all these terrible rejected demo songs, from back in the day. And nope. Wow, what's this? This one's so good. We're not going to put it on the record. We're going to start playing this shit live. And that's happened a couple of times with this sort of rediscovery. During COVID, I digitized a bunch of these 4-track, 8-track, mini studio in a garage kind of recording from back in the day. These demos, I digitized all of them because during lockdowns. And so when Cleopatra said, well, what do you got laying around that's just gathering dust, not doing it? And we thought, oh, shit, I got all these old demos. I mean, the landfill behind me, you can kind of tell, damn, he's probably got some cool shit back there. So, yeah.
You don't want to see you don't want to see my side. I'm like a great hoarder, but of good shit, really good
nice.
shit.
Well, that's kind of the same. That's kind of the same thing. I've started giving some of it away, but not from fighting and screaming much. So.
Right. All right. So let's get back to the origins. Music wise, in the family, do you come from a musical family, or just was music played in in the household? What was the seed that got you to start doing this?
It was my, I have to give credit to my older brothers and my younger brother even. I have three brothers, and as well the babysitter, because I was probably five or something, maybe six, and across the street I'm at the babysitters because the parents had something to do, and she's playing Elton John "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," and I'm like, my young ears are like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Because all I had was little 45s of Sesame Street shit, whatever, maybe some AM radio hits, on 45 with a little turntable in my room. And I've always loved music, and it kind of seemed like it was magic to me. So when I'm hearing, like, some Elton John stuff that's not on the radio, or something that was given me for a birthday or Christmas or something on a little record that was appropriate, right? I mean, the coolest record that me and my younger brother listened to all the time was this Ghost Stories record. I think it was Hitchcock's Ghost Stories, and it had all kinds of spooky sounds, and I was really attracted to that. I always like horror movies and shit like that. So just getting into, AM Gold radio stuff, and then, Elton John, became a huge Elton John fan immediately, started buying, LPs. And it had a nice stack of Elton EPs, I'm sorry, LPs. And I was still, what, 10 or something, and I discovered Kiss, And so
The
Elton
gateway.
John to Kiss, right, right. And then, Bowie and Alice Cooper and Queen. And, my brother's record collections were a big influence on me. And they would buy me records for my birthdays and Christmas and shit, too. So Kiss and Elton and Queen and Alice Cooper, and then UFO, and then Rush. And it was just incredible. My first concert, I was 12 years old. All of this happens so fast, and you don't realize it till you go back and, like you said, origins. When you think about those formative years, man, it's only a speck of like 2 or 3 years when you realize how you fell in and never got out. Neighborhood kids turned me on to Kiss Alive, and I didn't stand a chance after that.
Right.
But in '77, I saw UFO and Rush, and I was 12 years old. That was my first concert.
Wow.
And I'm from the Gulf of Mexico, Corpus Christi, and I shed tears. It was like this religious experience or something. I'd never felt like that. And so I always kind of related that to, well, I've got to learn why is this making me feel this way?
And let me ask you, was it the Shanker or the Chapman era?
Shanker.
Oh,
77 is
77 was still Shanker, yeah.
Obsession
wow.
tour.
Right.
They were playing stuff from Obsession.
Oh my God.
Well, that would
Yeah,
have
it
been
was
more
fair-
like, that would have been more 79.
Farewell to Kings is what
wow.
Rush was doing. Yeah. So they were playing, they were playing a bunch of good shit. It was, they may have played one or two they may have played Free Will or Spirit of Radio. It was that, because everybody was putting out 2 records a year back then.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So would you say Elton John was kind of like your gateway to the other side of more elaborate music as opposed to AM radio?
To album rock.
Rock, yeah.
Yeah, to like to knowing what a deep cut was, and not something that was pressed on a single. When you think of Detroit Rock City and Beth on the other side, you're going, oh, these are great. Well, what about the album, Jason? What about
right.
Flaming Youth and crazy stuff like, Do You Love Me? And it was important to me after listening to my brother's suggestions and gifts they gave me, and waiting for them to go to school so I could sneak in their room and go through their vinyl collection. I learned about the Gods and Moxie and all this badass, stuff that those guys never really broke past certain markets anywhere.
Right.
Bands
The
like
first
that.
Moxie album with Tommy Bolin on it was
Correct.
one of the to this day, I think, one of the greatest hard rock albums ever.
Right. And who talks about that?
You got to keep this train rolling, my man.
Exactly. What a song! That the guitar playing on that was incredible. But everybody has, I think, in this circle of music, you have that one album when you were a kid
Yeah.
that opened. Like for me, it was the Allman Brothers Eat a Peach. When I heard
Mhm.
that, I was in the 8th grade, and that just changed everything for me. Like,
Yeah.
it took you from the Beatles and like the bubblegum rock
Yeah.
that was in the States. And when I heard that album, it just completely, that was my
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
I had a guy come on. I always tell the story because it's always new to somebody else. I had a guy come live on my block, 7 years older than me. Uh, I come and he goes, "Oh, what do you listen to?" I go, "Oh, I listen to Kiss and I listen to that." He goes, "Sit the fuck down, kid." He sits me down. First thing he puts on is Catch the Rainbow. Second thing
Nice.
he puts on is Love to Love.
Nice.
Third thing he puts on is Child in Time. And
Nice.
Jason, I was fucking done. I was
Yeah.
done. So then
Yeah,
all of a
you
sudden I related the guitar player with the singer and the
yeah.
song structure, and it was all over. It was all
You
over.
didn't stand a chance,
I
you
didn't.
know.
I didn't.
Well, it didn't take me long to get into heavier things and Black Sabbath and then Judas Priest was a big AC/DC and Judas Priest. My younger brother brought home one day, and I chose that over Led Zeppelin live. Song Remains the Same,
Hmm.
which he thought I would really like because I was so into Kiss Alive, because it was a live record. And don't get me wrong, I love Song Remains the Same live Led Zeppelin, but something about, I think it was Highway to Hell, and it was brand new. So that would have been 79,
Mm-hmm.
and I was 14 or something. And he brought home the same Unleashed in the East, Judas Priest Unleashed in the East. And I fell in love with that immediately, and I was like, holy shit. And then Black Sabbath, and I was still listening to Kiss and Rush and stealing my brother's records and shit. But yeah, I have to say, Tom, to your point, Elton was kind of this like sort of album rock thing where the deep cuts and like the different colors that an artist could paint with on a collection of songs, such as a photo album. You know, you're going through all these photos in a photo album, and each one has a memory and a smell and a whole thing. So I fell in love with long players, with albums, and my singles. I just I didn't care about my 45s anymore because I could go on an adventure when I dropped the needle on a long player, right? So then I started going to concerts. I saw Angel support Ted Nugent the same year, 77. And I saw Ted Nugent like 3 times in like 9 months. I saw State of Shock. I saw Weekend Warriors. There was one more that I saw. I saw Nugent with Axe. Saw him with Angel. I saw him with somebody else too. Anyway,
Did you
those
see the
were
Scream
my
Dream tour?
Scream Dream. Scream Dream. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Weekend Warrior, State of Shock, Scream Dream, and that all. I mean, 7 to 9 months.
Heavy
I
hitters, man.
saw him
Heavy
three
hitters.
three times. And I fell in love with Angel. I thought they were rad, and then I realized they're on Casablanca, same as Kiss. I was like, okay, well, this is making too much sense. And they were like, Kiss meets Journey or something. They
Mm-hmm.
had this vibe. That's fine, and we can move on. I think we covered a lot of
Yeah.
origins. I,
So
I am
now,
ultimately I am a massive Elton John fan, and in '75 he put out two records. My favorite being Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt
oh
Cowboy, and
yeah,
then the same year he put out Rock of the Westies, and he was real high when he was writing with Bernie Taupin on those records. And they're two different animals. The band on Rock of the Westies is different. He's got the same bass player maybe, and I think a different drummer. He didn't. Nigel Olsson wasn't on Rock of the West. Anyway, Captain Fantastic is like my Bible, and it's kind of like listening to an old Alice Cooper record. There's all these different colors, like I was talking about. There's all these stories and this crazy. It's almost like a concept album, but it's not. And that really blew my mind as far as songwriting and shit. But hands down, Kiss and Queen, they were Angel, they were having all the fun because I was also into. I wanted superheroes and monsters too, right?
right, right.
So. I was a kid. I was still a kid, but I was thinking, how are they doing this? My first instrument is bass guitar. My oldest brother and my mother pitched in, got me a pawn shop bass, and I started teaching myself how to play bass. And it was just drop the needle. I didn't even know how to tune it. I would just find the string that sounded the close, and crank on the tuning peg until it sounded right. And I just self-taught, figured it out. Fall before you stand, kind of thing.
And
And
where did singing come into play with you?
well, I was in the choir in like fifth and sixth grade, but it was just like Christmas music and Charlie Brown shit. I was in the bicentennial play. That would have been, of course, 1976. What a great year. I would have been like 11 or something. And I think my pitch must have been all right. I was kind of the choir teacher's pet. Always put me right in the center near the mic, which I thought was really weird. Nope, I need you right here near the mic. And I'm like, okay, whatever. You're just grabbing me by the shirt, pulling me over to where she wanted me. And I remember in the Christmas concert, she let me play the bells, like ding ding a dong, ding ding a dong, ding ding a dong. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. She was like, hit here, and I was like, oh, there it is. And I would, no practice. I didn't have those fucking xylophone fucking things at home. How would I practice that? So I think maybe I'm training my ear, and I don't realize I'm training my ear. The self-taught bass playing, that. And I don't know. I didn't know that do re mi fa sol la ti do was the major scale, and that Joy to the World is the major scale backwards. No one told me that. That was all discovery on my own.
And will you consider falsetto then?
I am not a tenor.
Okay.
So any upper register is a mixed voice, or what I say, an angry falsetto, right? But falsetto is underrated. I mean, Frankie Valli to King Diamond, I mean, they sing exactly the same, and a lot of people don't even realize it. Don't you know I'm so good for you? I
Yes,
mean, that's
back in the
King
day,
Diamond.
Frankie sounded like a chick. That's how high it was.
That's King Diamond, though.
Yeah.
King Diamond's doing the same fucking thing. Anyway, so to realize that, and to get into Priest, and later on, of course, Merciful Fate, and all in a matter of like 3 and 4 years apart. Here we go again, cramming all the years together, because if you think 78, 79, I'm buying Hellbent for Leather and getting into British Steel in 80, and then moving to Austin and meeting people and having bands where we're just playing all those songs. And I don't know what I'm doing as a singer, but I'm singing and playing bass at the same time. And that's the only voice I could find to use, and I just developed it. I'm untrained, and I just use what I got. The trick is to do whatever you can to make the voice, the sounds you want without hurting yourself, right? Sounds legit, right?
Like sometimes singers paint themselves in a corner.
Yeah.
You're in your 20s, you can hit the fucking ceiling, and now you're 65 years old, and you got to tune down, you got to do things to make the song sound right. And honestly, I swear to God, Jake, you lost nothing. People go on YouTube and see the Monsters of Rock tour of last week, and see this man sing Queen of the Nile, and you're gonna be fucking floored. That's how great your vocals still are, my man.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no detuning, and it's basically take care of yourself and use your voice. If you snooze, you lose. If you don't use your voice the way you need to, instead of complaining, going, it's too high, what was I thinking, let's tune way down so I can just talk these songs. That's not what the fan wants.
Right.
I worry some fans didn't seem like fans. Tommy Thayer's wearing the Ace costume, and they're going, Ace, 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 and I'm going, no, Tommy.
Clueless.
So I want people to care about what it is they say they claim to be a fan of, right?
So what was the formation of Dangerous Toys now? How did that get together?
Good question. I was for almost a decade, I was in this progressive math kind of jazz metal thrash band called Watchtower that a lot of people have arguably, not this is not things I've said, but other people say, and you talk to some living, some not living. Chuck from Death, Watchtower was a big influence on Death. Watchtower is a big Dream Theater influence. So anywhere from death metal to just what we call prog metal. This was in 1982. We were kids in high school writing this crazy ass music with odd time signatures and shit. And we were just trying to have a cool band that sounded different, you know. And now it's documented that we might be arguably again pioneers of progressive metal. So especially thrash, because it gets thrashy and it's fast and it's screamy and it's insane, and you can't dance to it. I know that. So I was doing that, and we started to get some footprint. We self-released a record called Energetic Disassembly, which last year was the 40th year anniversary of the release of that. Came out in 85 originally, and High Roller out of Germany did a really nice reissue with a buddy of mine. We have the master reels, the 2-inch tape, so we have all the stems digitized. My buddy remixed it, had it remastered. There's two versions. The silver version is the OG version. That's the original mix without any bonus material. The gold version is the remix, remaster with bonus material. Might still be available. High Roller Records. They did a great job. Anyway, I did that for about 8 or 9 years until I started working with the Toys, and I was moonlighting there for a year and a half or so. And then the Toys got a chance to, you know, we got hit by a bus full of money, is what happened, and got a deal, and la la la.
Did Columbia approach you?
Well, the story is quite maddening, because we never, you know, let's move out to L.A., dude.
You weren't shopping anything around demos or anything like that.
No. I was the fill-in singer until the Toys guys could. They had a female singer before me. They lost her. They called me because I was popular kid in town, Watchtower. Everybody knew Watchtower, and they said, "Hey, you want to sing some rock and roll with us? And you know, we got these gigs, and we're trying to eat. We just lost our singer, and that sounds fun. You know, they're doing classic rock and new, you know, top, you know, MTV hits. You know, they're starting to get into Faster Pussycat and Guns N' Roses and L.A. Guns and whatever. But you know, we did Loudness, and we did Zeppelin and AC/DC, and we did all kinds of crazy shit. But it was fun. And they were a little bit on the glammier side, you know, tight pants and, you know, big hair and stuff like that. That's fine. It was trends, you know, just following trends, bro. It's cool.
Look at early Pantera.
Sounded fun. Yeah, it sounds fun. It sounded fun, so I said yes. I started gigging with them under the name Dangerous Toys. And about 6 months later, well, I started in October of '87. Is when the band was kind of born. We didn't play our first show until probably mid-December. And then, so, you know, there's not even, can't really count October because it was late. So November, December, January, February, March. So 5 months later, we play the South by Southwest Music Conference. And back then, it was a 3-day weekend with just a handful of clubs in Austin, Texas, you know, which is known for it being a music bed. And because now in 2020 something, it's just a trade show. I mean, Metallica plays, you know.
Yeah.
People are selling products, and it's a movie festival, and that's great. That's great. But it's, you know, back in the day, it used to be all about the little guy, like publishers and labels and managers and songwriters would come, and it was a community, right? And people from New York and L.A. and overseas would come over and see what Austin and surrounding cities would have to offer musically. Well, in '87, which would have been the very first South by Southwest, this lady named Celine Armbeck from SBK Publishing in Los Angeles had come down, and she had seen Onyx. Now, Onyx is Dangerous Toys with their girl singer. They're called Onyx. So Celine Armbeck comes from LA and sees Onyx play and takes some notes. I'm going to come back next year and see this band, these guys, right? She does. She's watching Onyx play at a different club. This would have been spring of 88, March of 88. I'm in the band 5 months now. It's called Dangerous Toys. Well, Onyx has a whole new band. Across the bridge, we'll say. And Celine is watching Onyx play, and she's elbowing somebody. Something's different. I saw these guys last time, and this is different. This is a totally different thing. And they're like, oh, yeah, you saw her with these other guys, Mark and Mike and Scott and all those. You saw them. Yeah, they're called Dangerous Toys. They got this thrash metal singer. They're playing across the river. Take me to them right now. They got in a cab, and turns out she was talking to Bobby McNeely, this guy that actually worked at the back room but managed Onyx. So he still works at the back room. The back room, is the watering hole. It's the club that we all played at all the time. It's where we were discovered, so to speak, right? Okay. And at this point in the 5 months, Dangerous Toy had only played 4 venues. One of them back room in Austin, Steamboat in Austin, which is where Onyx was playing that night during South by. So Backroom, Steamboat, a place called Rockers, and a place called Sneakers in San Antonio. Just shitty bars, the same you got, same we got, right? It's 1988, right? Rocker bar, whatever. And so they come over, and she sees the new version of Onyx, which is now called Dangerous Toys, with this redheaded dude on the mic. We play 30 minutes. There's like 15 people in the audience. We didn't even know what South by Southwest was. That's how dumb we were. We didn't even know what it was. We didn't care. It was on a Sunday night.
It was a gig.
Yeah, it was just a gig. But here's the funny thing is the booking agent at the back room called us Friday and was like, hey, I need you to play this thing. I got a slot open. It's called South by Southwest. It's on Sunday. And we're like, all we heard was Sunday night. We just played Friday night and sold it out. Why do you want us to play 2 days? It's a Sunday. People got to work and shit. What the fuck, And because we were not looking for a record deal, we didn't give a shit. We were just trying to eat, right? So, and I was just having fun. I was in 2 bands, living the dream. I was in this prog thrash metal band that had global, underground success, fanzines and shit. And I was in this cool bar band that played my favorite butt rock songs and Zeppelin and shit, And anyway, this lady comes up to us after our set and says, I'm Celine Armbeck from SBK Publishing, and I'd like to talk to you about a publishing deal. And I'm like, what? Well, I'm not even in this band. I'm in this thrash band called Watchtower, but my dudes are right over there. They're 10 steps away. They would love to talk to you. Thank you. She walks away. They call me the next day. Hey, that lady was legit. I'm like, oh, shit. So not maybe 3 weeks, a month prior, a friend of mine had sent a cassette tape. No, it would have been after that. It would have been after that. Maybe a week after that, we heard from, no, it would have been might have been May, couple of months, maybe 6 weeks later. Sorry. A friend of mine had mailed a cassette tape, Watchtower demos on one side, and a live broadcast of Dangerous Toys playing live on the local rock radio station called KOBJ. And, like a 30-minute set of whatever, no covers, just all original. And I think Teasin was on there, Woody was on there, a handful.
Oh, so you had your arsenal already.
Had 2 or 3 songs that made it onto the first record, and then it had like 3 or 4 that didn't make the cut. And that was on side B, right? It might have been queued up to Teasin' Pleasin', might have been queued up to that because my friend Julie, who sent it, she knew that was probably going to be a winner, and she had sent it to a management company, Tapco Entertainment, which ended up being our management. And the story goes Tim Heine is the head honcho there. He's in the video in my head is that he's driving down down the freeway, the 101 or whatever, and he's a rock and roll manager, right? And he managed Y&T and Keel and shit like that in L.A., right? Stack of demos on his desk, grows every week, right? Just demos, you take a few off and, all right, going home. Good night, Sam. He's getting the Corvette and he's got the mobile brick phone with the curly cord and shit. And he's driving down the 101, popping in demos that, shitty demos that people send him.
Throwing them out in the street if it don't work.
Yeah, if he hears the first song and he sucks, he pops it out and throws it out the fucking window. Like literally, I think, throw it out the fucking window. But he hears Tease and Please and pulls over, gets on his fucking curly cord brick phone and calls the office back and says, who the fuck are these guys? Get them on the phone. Well, Celine had never heard of Tapco Entertainment, did not know Tim, and they're both from the Los Angeles area. We hooked them up together, and they started scheming, and they became a small army, and were setting up showcases for the toys to play in Austin. We slept in our own beds every night. That's what. Hey, let's move out to Hollywood so we can make it. That was never in our. We didn't give a shit about it. It's like, fuck. That sounds like a lot of work, man. I can't afford to. I can't afford the gas. Much less a
You're
tire.
actually kind of sensible in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Go figure. We would, as dumb as we were kind of smart that we didn't want to, waste any energy on that. We were just having fun playing rock and roll, which is really what we're all here for anyway. Life is short, man. So, we showcased for like 7 labels without leaving our hometown. And we went with Columbia.
So Columbia approached you. Was it a tour?
Well, they all did. They all wined and dined us. I mean, I was eating dinner with people.
Who else approached you?
A&M, Atlantic, MCA. This is all before the mergers. It was when you could probably name back then 7 labels.
Right, that was before Sony, I think, bought over CBS and everything. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the first record, that's how you know it's a legit pressing. It doesn't say Sony anywhere on it.
Right.
Yeah, it says CBS.
And was it Jason, if I could ask a quick question, where did the name,
of course.
Dangerous Toys come from? How did you guys come up with that?
This ties in a little bit when the same booking agent from the back room, our watering hole, the club that we were, big fish in the little pond kind of thing, as they say. He called us, only maybe a week or 2 after I started, singing with the Toys guys for fun. He called up the house because we practiced at Mark the drummer's living room. It's like, Marshall stack, TV set, Marshall stack, coffee table, easy chair, couch, and then the kitchen is right there. It's like a little banister, and then the dining room. And it was like a little step up kitchen, right? So that the dining room area with the the chandelier over the table, kind of no table, drum kit. So
the neighbors must have loved you.
That was like the drum riser, because you picture the sunken living room, right, and then you got the kitchenette, right. It's like the drum riser up here, and all the amps are around the wall. It looked like a studio. It looked like a fucking studio, but it was a rent house. And bless his heart, Mark lived there with his wife Susan, and they put up with it, and glad they did. But yeah, the phone rings. The phone's in the kitchen, curly cord, yellow. I think it was like a marigold color, fucking, rotary phone. And it's Jim Ramsey from the back room. He's like, "Hey, I heard you got a singer." "Yeah, we got a singer." "Well, I want to book you guys. Let's book you guys as soon as possible, but you can't use the name Onyx, duh." "Hey, what do you hold on. What are we gonna call this shit fucking band? What is this gonna be? And Scott's tuning his guitar or something, and he says, "Man, I saw this bumper sticker. It said, like, bad boys play with dangerous toys." And we both looked around with it. "Dangerous toys, that'll work. We can change it. That sucks. We'll just change it later. We'll change it later." And now here we are, 40 years later.
That's great.
It's on Tom's shirt.
Right.
It's on the wall behind you,
And let me ask you, did you guys feel you needed a mascot, or did Beelzebub come
That was
through?
an accident. That was an accident. I'm on the phone with Tim Heine management, who I barely know. I've met him, I could count the minutes on one hand, 2 hands. It was all new. We were meeting strangers we were putting our career, that's laughable at the time, our lives in their hands, and I'm on the phone with Tim, super cool cat, still friends today. Still, I can call him and ask advice anytime. He's fucking great. But I'm on the phone with him after knowing him for a month or whatever, and the record might have been. The songs, I don't even know. I can't remember when the conversation was, but it was within that first year, right, of me being even in the band, because less than a year later, I'm in the studio. I joined the band October '87. Less than a year later, I'm in the studio making the record with these.
Yeah, I want to talk
guys.
about Sound City with you.
Sound City,
yeah.
But the clown, I'm on the phone with Tim, and he's like, "Well, we got to come up with some artwork, a logo, la la la." I'm like, "Damn it." Okay, we start the conversation like, what is a dangerous toy? What are we talking about? Is this a marital aid? What is a dangerous toy? What kind of tool is a dangerous toy? And I'm going, I don't know, maybe like a Jack in the Box, and it's a clown, but he's a scary as shit clown. The Jack in the Box, you crank the crank, and boom, and he's scares you, and what do? You shove it back down in there, and you do it again. Later, this would be an epiphany and tie into the song Scared. I think I like being scared, so I'm going to do this over and over and over, and boom, I like this. I like being scared all the time. At the time, we came up with the idea of the Jack in the Box and the clown, later to be named Bill Z Bub, like Beelzebub. We wrote the song Scared at some point, and then we realized, oh shit, the Jack in the Box, the idea of the Jack in the Box works with this, or someone who likes to ghost hunt, or go to see horror movies, or anyway.
Now you being a horror guy, I really would have thought it came from It, being Pennywise. I thought the influence would have been somewhere from there.
Yeah, we got a little bit of that, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't put that together. It or Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
right?
Because the artist Tommy Pons that came up with this clown to put some more depth into the story. Tim, my manager, is like, okay, well, the scary clown deal. Okay, let's go. I've got some artists here in L.A. I'm gonna have them do some sketches, and I'll fax you, because it was '88.
That's how it was.
I'll fax you some sketches, and I get the fax, and I didn't have a fax fucking machine. I had to go to the coffee shop, the print shop a block away. I don't even think I had a car at the time. Then I go over there and I get him, and I run back to the house, and I call him to tell him these suck. I've got a guy who can blow this away. He's like, hold on, cocky man. I'll let you say your piece, but these are the best guys in Los Angeles. These guys do, they're graphic artists. They come up with this shit for bands all the time. They do this, they do set design and la la la. And I'm like, well, you tell them that they can stick this, funny looking, silly looking, toy clown up their arse. This is where they can stick this balloon clown up their booty. I've got a guy that can blow this away. Okay, over the phone I hear Tim go, okay, let's see what So I call up my buddy Tommy, and he was in San Antonio, and I said, hey, I got this record. I need a logo, and the idea is this scary clown. He's like, got it. So he faxes a sketch to me and to Tim, so we can both look at it at the same time while we're on the phone. So the phone rings, and I'm like, hello, and it's Tim. He goes, you were right. And that's the clown we got. The one that's on, actually, it was the exact one that's on Tom's shirt, because that's like that's a bootleg shirt, by the way. I'm not mad.
No, this is an original.
That's a bootleg.
Even the originals were bootleg?
That's a bootleg.
Where did you get yours, Tom?
Because that clown is not that's the original clown.
Go up, you bring it up a little. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a bootleg. That's not our clown. Like Tommy didn't even draw that.
Really?
Yeah, somebody else drew that.
Do you
Yeah.
recall where you got it?
But it doesn't
Well, I
matter.
got
That's
it off
cool.
of eBay, but it's
Yeah.
got
Oh, there
the,
you go.
that no, I got it like 25 years ago, and it's
Yeah,
got the,
that's
even they had to be selling them like at your shows though, because this
not
shirt is
I've
old.
never ever at a Dangerous Toy show has that shirt ever been sold at a merch table.
Really?
I'm
Wow.
not trying just for the record, I'm not trying to get on your bad side.
No, 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 no,
Yeah.
you're not. It's
Yeah.
just that I
Okay.
pride myself, and we were just talking about this before we
Ah.
went on the air with you,
Yeah.
that I think I have all original shirts, but
It's an interesting topic because Temu sells shirts that the band gets zero from
Mm-hmm.
compensation. Temu, eBay, Redbubble, all of those sites are not
Rockware. What
official.
about Rockware?
Yeah, that's not official. Those are all bootleg. All of it is bootleg. So the band gets zero monetization. They're not licensed at all. So a lot of my time when I feel like getting a fucking headache, I'll go on all these sites I mentioned and I'll try to shut them down because I own the rights to the name, and I send them the certificate and all the TPSO numbers and everything, and they're usually really cool about it. But yeah, the balls on these motherfuckers. They'll go to my website, which is all official merchandise, and they'll steal brand new designs a week after I put them up, and they're already bootlegging for sale on all those sites. It's fucking
they're even
crazy, man.
bootlegging shirts of bands that were like barely even known, like bands that like maybe had one album out on an
Yeah,
independent. Like they're even
yeah,
bootlegging bands like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And those bands that are not even functional or have a website or releasing music or even they're like a doctor now. They don't even give a shit
Yeah,
anymore.
they're easy pickings because they know they're not going
Yeah,
to get sued or
they
yeah.
don't own the name. There's no it's easy pickings because there's not any copyright.
I just wanted
The
to ask you a question,
not
moving
trademark.
off of
Yeah,
the T-shirt for a minute.
yeah, of course.
My exposure to the band initially was through a song that appeared on the Shaka soundtrack,
Yeah,
Demon Bells.
yeah,
Probably my favorite, all-time favorite Dangerous Toys song.
awesome.
How did you guys, who were relatively new band, get on this soundtrack, which at the time this was a big horror movie, and there were a lot of heavy hitters on this. And actually, I bought it because of a band called Bonfire
Yeah,
that I was into, had a song on there, and I checked out the song of Dangerous Toys, and I was like, "Holy shit! I like these fucking guys. I
yeah,
have to go get the album."
yeah.
So how did that all come about? And it was a Desmond Child,
Yeah,
basically wrote or co-wrote all the songs on this
yeah.
album. If you could tell us about that.
Yeah, they were in with SBK. If you look on the Shocker soundtrack, it's an SBK
Mm-hmm.
release, and SBK is the publishing company, and they later turned into a label, obviously. That Celine Armbeck, who discovered Dangerous Toys in Austin, the story I just told, that's SBK. So we were already in. We had a production deal publishing with SBK, so they just called us, "Hey, you got another song? We'll fly Max Norman to Texas. You guys can, just a mere months after our record was about to come out." So the same year in '89, Max Norman came to Texas, and we went to San Marcos, not far from where I am here, and recorded Demon Bell. And Demon Bell was a song that was originally called Dangerous Toys, that I wrote the lyrics for, Scott wrote the riff for, and the very little change, the arrangement only, but all the riffs from Dangerous Toys ended up being Demon Bell. And I came up with the title Demon Bell as a B title for Dangerous Toys when I got on the phone with Desmond Child to pen all the lyrics for it. So some of the lyrics were from the song Dangerous Toys that I kept that were going to pertain to the theme of the movie. So if you recall, the title is Demon Bell, parentheses, the Ballad of Horace Pinker,
Right.
which was genius, and it was Desmond Child's idea to do that. And so, I would give him a couple of lines. He'd be like, "What do you got?" And I said, "I got this, and this is what I got, and I would read them off. I like this, I like that, I like that. Yeah, I'm cool. We can scratch, half of what I got and use what. Hey, and he's like, how about this? So, in a 3-hour landline phone call in 1989, which probably cost $700
Mm-hmm.
because there's no cell phones, right?
Right.
Me and Desmond Child on the phone for 3 hours on the phone wrote the lyrics to Demon Bell.
So was the
Wow.
original song a leftover from the first album?
Yeah, it never made the first album, right? But it was written prior. That's how old it is. It was probably
Okay.
written in
And
early
so it was the
'88
same
or
song with what you changed the lyrics to more accompany like the theme of the movie?
correct to give it a character, Horace Pinker, and talk about things that pertain to the band Dangerous Toys, to the movie. It kind of had this sort of hub, and then it had spokes, that kind of dealt with anything in it, tied all of us in. It was great. What I love about it in the movie is they almost play our entire song in the
I know.
scene, and
I know. I
our
went to go
song
see
is.
the movie. I remember that.
I
Yeah.
think we're the only song where they almost played the whole fucking
That's
song
correct.
in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a leftover song that from the first that was a reject from the first album that we just turned into Demon Bell.
Did that exposure on that album give you guys a bigger bump?
The soundtrack.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, we were already selling a lot of units, because I remember that movie came out. We had started the tour, and the record was out and doing well, and we had a #1 video on MTV. I didn't feel any extra push
Yeah.
from the movie. I mean, it was cool because movie was in the theaters, and
Oh yeah.
horror fans took to it because
Mm-hmm.
anything with Wes Craven people seemed to
Absolutely.
like. Yeah.
Jason, let
Very
me ask you:
interesting.
did you have a choice in producer, or Max Norman was assigned to you?
Um, I remember a couple of names being brought up, but as soon as Max Norman's name kind of just was on the docket, it just kind of bubbled to the top, and no one questioned it. Him being the producer of some crazy little song called "Crazy Train" was enough for
Mm-hmm.
us. So,
And
Who could argue with that, right?
and he produced "Cool from the Wire."
That's right. He did.
And Sound City, was that the studio you guys were booked for, or did
That's
you
right.
request that? Wow.
Yeah,
And that's got history, boy.
we didn't know we couldn't have named one or two even two studios in the Los Angeles area. Yeah, out in Van Nuys, out in the valley. Sound City is infamous. I mean, everyone recorded there. Dio, Rat, Tom Petty,
Fleetwood Mac.
everybody.
Yeah, all the great albums came out of
Yeah,
there.
yeah, everybody. And when we were recording, that band Wolf's Bane was in there recording too. The first Danzig was done there. So, and
And that and
I think the Cult Electric might have been down there. Don't
Oh
know.
wow.
Yeah.
how was your relationship with Max? Great to get along with.
He was a bit of a hard ass. We had just met the guy. I mean, he wasn't our. We didn't know. We were working with strangers,
Right.
and it was kind of par for the course because we're all pretty much in our 20s, early 20s, and we're just taking it as it goes. Wow, every day was a new day, man. Every day was a learning experience. But Max would kick your ass. He would make, he would just pretty much be like, yeah, that was good. Do it again. Yeah, that was good. Do it again. And so 50 takes of, certain songs.
Wow.
It was a bitch.
And did you have all the songs in your arsenal, or you were creating in the studio also?
Good question. We had, most of the songs. I mean, some history. The first song I wrote with these guys would have been, either late 87 or early 88 would have been Here Comes Trouble. And that was that got chosen over a lot of songs, which is, it was really the first. In Watchtower, I'll give you some history. In Watchtower, I didn't write the lyrics. I wrote the melodies. The notes I sang were my melody lines were my contribution to the Watchtower legacy. And even on the second record, which I was not on, my buddy Alan Tecchio from New Jersey sang on the second Watchtower record. But anyway, so here we had Woody, we had Trouble. I think we had Scared was late. Scared and Tin Boots came late.
Wow.
Like we were in pre-production rehearsals in Los Angeles at a rehearsal just in a little room across the parking lot from Sound City. And I remember working on Scared, and I remember working on Tin Boots. And Tin Boots, there was the breakdown, the halftime, right? That was just double time all the way. You know the riff.
Let's speed it up, yeah.
So it was that the whole song was just fast.
Okay.
And so what was different is we need a breakdown. We need something else to happen, and that was a suggestion from Max. And I was like, okay, well, halftime in that bridge, and that'll do it. And then put a little riff, and then go into the solo, and it worked. And so we were learning about how to make our songs talk and have a little bit more fire. And we learned little things like, where there's a vocal line, you got an intro and then you got a verse, but there's a vocal line and then there's a riff and then there's a vocal line and then there's a riff. Well, in those riffs, Scott, play some noodles, man. Put some zingers in between the vocals, right? And little things like that. In the original version of Teasin' and the breakdown, the little slowed down little Mae West, come on up and see me sometime. That kind of little la ta 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 showgirl dance there.
Mm-hmm.
There was no lyrics. There was no singing there. That shit that wasn't there. So Max was like, tomorrow you're gonna add some vocals right there because it's a big giant fucking hole. And I'm like, oh shit, really? Oh fuck. And we went out that night and partied or whatever, and I'm on my way to the studio with one eye open, realizing, oh shit, I need to sing
You gotta
fucking
work.
breakdown. I don't have any lyrics. I'm grabbing like a piece of paper off the bottom, the car floorboard, and I'm going to see, and I'm thinking of the riff in my head, because there's no cell phone, there's no, you had to be creative. Okay, creative, go. Pencil, paper, go. Write it in the dirt. Get a stick. Go outside and play with a stick. Remember those days when you used to go outside and play with a fucking stick?
Kick the can.
Yeah, now people don't kick the can. They don't even know what that is.
Punch ball, all that shit, man.
Whatever, man.
So,
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Tommy.
Style-wise, I always, this was an era where everybody kind of got lumped under the hair band moniker. I never felt you guys were in that category of sound. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be. I hear things sometimes that I'm off on, but I always thought you guys, kind of similar to another band called Junkyard at the time, had a kind of a little bit of a like a heavy but southern rock thing going on. Was that any type of an influence?
I thought it was
in your background?
raunchy, dirty. That's where I felt you guys.
Yeah.
Punch you in the face, rock and roll. That's what you guys.
A little, but I always heard a certain, again, there was a band called Junkyard at the time.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing of. Was there any influence from like the great southern rock bands like Molly Hatchet and Blackfoot, or am I off on that?
No, you're not off at all. I think that it's a little closer, ironically, to ZZ Top, which is right
early
down the road.
Early ZZ Top,
yeah, right down the road from us, and that's embedded, And we're just from We're from Texas, so it's kind of an automatic. My dad wore cowboy boots. Your dad did not wear cowboy boots. There's that kind of bragging rights that we're from Texas, that we have a little bit of that flavor. I've heard some people just call it boogie metal, and that makes me think, right, like I always thought, like, if ZZ Top and Aerosmith and like Fog Hat, which is not really, which is not really a southern rock band, Foghat, but they
Yeah.
have all of the elements of a southern rock band.
A lot of
They
slide
got
guitar.
they got shuffles and slide and boogie woogie shit and
Absolutely.
fucking
Oh yeah.
they're full of piss and vinegar and they're
Yep.
just they're high energy and shit. And if you take ZZ Top, Foghat, and Aerosmith, like good Aerosmith, like
Mm-hmm.
old Aerosmith,
70s Aerosmith.
first four albums,
Right.
anything off the first four albums, and you mix in like I don't know, the Sex Pistols, or something like that, and put it in a blender, you're kind of in the right area of what Dangerous Toys is. Now, you mentioned Junkyard, and we all love Junkyard, but before there was a Junkyard at all, and before there was a Dangerous Toys, I went to high school with my the late great one of my friends, best friends, David Roach, the singer for
I
Junkyard.
know he passed away. I love that guy.
We went to high school together at Austin High, and that would have been
Wow, I didn't know that.
in 1981. And we had art class together. Yeah, and he was in a punk band called the Pagans. And I had yet joined Watchtower. I was in a band called Fallen Angels, basically cover songs. But those, the punk kids around town were already writing their own songs, and a lot of heavy metal kids were like just playing covers. And I always was attracted to that, to the punks, because they had their own thing. They were writing their own songs and setting up their own shows. And what made them any different? They're the same age, we're both wearing leather, and we're both, anyway. So I befriended a lot of the punks in my early times in Austin, and my brother hung out with a bunch of punks, and it was simpatico. It was kind of like before they even would call it crossover. This would have been early 80s, And, eventually I was in Watchtower, and we played shows with David Roach's bands all the times. And we kind of basically came up together in the local Austin, heavy metal, hard rock, punk rock scene, playing shows together, when it was cool, for metal bands and punk bands to play together. It was awesome. And then, 87, by I think 87, I think David and Chris, who were in two different bands, had moved out to Los Angeles, and they were forming Junkyard around the same time that I was leaving Watchtower to join Toys full time. And we end up in LA recording, and we bump into those guys, and Chris Gates, the guitar player from Junkyard, he used to set up shows for Watchtower. So we have all this old history together, and here we are in Hollywood. Yay, look at us. Who knew? Crazy. We ended up touring together. Our videos, Hollywood and Teasin' Pleasin', debuted back-to-back on MTV. First time they came on, they were back-to-back. High school together.
I never knew you even had a connection to them. I just always thought the band sounded kind of similar to each other.
Well, it came up, it's from the same cloth, right?
Right.
And went to high school together, got signed around the same time. They had to go to L.A. and figure it out, right? But that's fine. Records came out the same week. Videos debuted the same night on MTV, back to back, which is so weird.
Wow.
Then we toured together in September of '89. So, Toys and Junkyard on tour together. It's fucking nuts. Fast forward, my band Broken Teeth played a bunch of shows with Junkyard throughout the years. Before David moved to Nebraska, because his wife was from Nebraska, he had met a girl and married. They got married later in their courting, in their relationship. They got married, but when they met, I think they met online. David was living next door to me, like 15 feet from where I sit. High school.
Wow.
Signed debut videos same day. Toured together. Living next door to me.
And would you agree
up.
that debut Junkyard album was a phenomenal album?
It's a top 10.
Yeah. That's what I think too.
Every song. And see, they're more of like a That record was an introduction to something that was like, if you could take Leonard Skinner and mix them with the Sex Pistols or the Ramones or something,
Hmm.
like a southern rock kind of punk, southern
Yes.
sort of cowpunk, but they had a lot of, Earl Slick played some slide guitar, and I
Hmm.
think they had some B3 organ stuff on that. It's like, but they were piss and vinegar, man. Junkyard.
Oh
Their
yeah.
lyrics were, they would kick your ass and steal your whiskey.
Yeah, totally in your face, but the hooks of the songs were
Yeah,
just
just like
phenomenal.
just like old country songs.
Yeah.
Just like old sad cowboy country songs, but fired up, right?
I'm
So
glad
I
I
think that,
mentioned them because I
yeah,
really
me
didn't
too.
know you had this connection with
Yeah,
them.
me too. And I think the Toys had a little bit of that too, just automatically. I mean,
Oh yeah.
we definitely weren't pulling from Leonard Skinner and we were definitely southern, wild-eyed southern boys, but it was taken. We were taking from probably a little bit closer to AC/DC and Motorhead and mixing it up with Aerosmith.
Right.
You were cranking car music, man. Really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
windows down, fucking. But I swear to God, I did my homework, with you guys. I wanted to refresh everything, and I said, first album production is phenomenal. I mean, it sounds so new still. I
Yeah.
mean, it hits all the cylinders. And let me ask you, doing videos at that time, was it tedious? Were you excited? How'd you feel about making the videos at the time?
Well, we were young, and it was long hours, and some of those videos took 2 and 3 days to produce to get all the footage together before they would do any, proto editing, for rough edits, right?
Yeah.
And God damn, they cost so much. I mean, it was fucking movie crew
Oh, it's money
cameras and
going out the
lighting.
window.
It's ridiculous, man. And videos now you can make on your iPhone. You don't even have to leave the house to make a rock video.
Well, let me ask you, Jason, what do you know what the cost of the first album was for you in studio wise to make it? Do you
Oh,
recall?
I don't know.
What do you think it might
I
have
would
been?
be miss. Oh, I bet they spent $800,000.
That they had to recoup back. So did you
Yeah,
see money though? Was it
not much.
profitable for you the first album? No.
Not too many middlemen.
Okay.
Uh, you got to give points to the producer. There's not much left over for the
What about
band.
your publishing?
That was a split too. They publishing deal. They gave us money in the initial signing.
Gotcha. And you got is that the gold record behind you?
Yeah. Are you still recording?
Yes, we went back again. You just froze for a
Okay.
second. Yeah, once you free, like you're the one freezing, I got to stop it so we can
Okay.
recycle. That's no
All
problem.
right. All
So
good.
now you guys go on tour. Was it a headline tour? Was it a co-headline tour with Junkyard? Did you go on your own? Did you
The
play with any big acts at the time? What
Yeah.
was the deal?
Yeah, the first tour was sponsored by Z-Rock. If you guys remember a satellite syndication
Oh yeah.
Yes.
company called Z-Rock. Yeah, and they were national. We signed a deal with them, and they sponsored like the first 3 weeks of our very first outing. And we would play Z-Rock cities, just around Texas, then Oklahoma, then we just branch out. By the time we got past a certain few of those markets, Z-Rock had, it was, I wouldn't call it pay to play, but they were, between them and Columbia and management and everything, they had, you play the record, we're going to have Z-Rock banners hanging up behind us, the band's going to swag everybody out with Z-Rock shit. You guys are going to be national phenomena. Z-Rock, what's this? I got to get Z-Rock, you know what I mean? And we were they were doing with all the new bands and new releases. So it was a great marriage.
And you felt Columbia gave you a good push for the
Oh,
first album?
100%. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then once the videos dropped and our numbers went up
And your
because of
rotation,
the video in heavy rotation sold the record. There's
right?
MTV, Z-Rock, all of those affiliates, I'll call them, 100% broke the record.
So now,
And
while you're on the road, are you starting to write new songs for Hellish Acres?
Not yet.
Okay, so you just doing what you got to do, and going to and doing your cycle, your tour cycle.
Yeah, we're doing there'll be some one-offs. We did a one-off with Warrant, and this is kind of scattered, but it's that same year. It's that same tour cycle. We did a one-off with Warrant and LA Guns in, this would have been like June or July of '89 at the Ritz in New York.
Okay,
We did Bonner Springs, Kansas with Kicks Extreme, and Warrant might have been on that as well, I think. We did another thing with Warrant because Warrant was another Columbia band, and they would just hook us up because it was easier to sell the tickets over the radio if it was like a label sponsored thing. We did in Houston. We did Astro World with Warrant, and that was a sold out, incredible. It was killer. I remember management team came in the dressing room before we play. It's like, we'll pay you to not curse. It was like $200 or something. We'll give you a little bonus if you don't curse because there's little kids. It's
right,
Astroworld. It's a
right,
fun
right.
park, right? And I know they did the same with Warrant. Well, the first, I was cool with it. I just came out and smiled and just watched my tongue, and it was good. It was a piece of cake. I mean, come on. My parents raised a good kid here, so I knew what was up. And I see little kids. I'm not gonna, I might have still grabbed my crotch about 100 times, but I didn't say the F word or what. Anyway, whatever. It wasn't even a thing. Oh yeah, no problem, man. I get it. And the first words out of Janie Lane's name were "you motherfuckers." I was like, oh damn. I guess they didn't need the money.
Right.
It's cool. And then so we did some one-offs that were really cool. And there's a few more that I'm probably forgetting. But then we got the LA Guns tour, Cocked and Loaded, and Tora had released their first album
Right.
with Walking Shoes on it, and it was Tora, Dangerous Toys, and LA Guns on Cocked and Loaded. That started October 11th in Austin. There we go, out of convenience. Sleep in my same. I don't have to travel somewhere to start a tour. I just started a tour right out of bed at home. But the bus is not picking me up at my front door. But yeah. Anyway, we would flip flop markets, us and Tora, because we were kind of neck and neck, and we made friends with them day one. They were coolest kids. I just saw them on the all original guys on the boat on the Monsters Rock Cruise. They love those guys. Anyway, yeah, so that tour started, and actually October 11th of 1989 is the first day I met Jack Pyers and Paul Lydell from Dirty Looks, and they were playing that night at the back room where the toys were discovered. So the plan was, we didn't know the Dirty Looks guys. We had never met them. We were just huge fans of, and at the time that was the new record was Turn of the Screw, and we were so heavy into that. Cool from the Wire, Turn of the Screw. And so the plan was, all right, we'll play our set, we'll watch a couple songs from LA Guns, and then we'll get in the car and we'll roll over to the back room, and then we'll just meet back here at the bus after the Dirty Looks show. And it was the watering hole, the back room. We getting in free, walking in the back door like we fucking own the place, right? So we get there and or I'm sorry, so I'm done watching a couple songs from LA Guns, and I'm like, all right, gonna go check out my favorite band, Dirty Looks, man. And I open the door to the dressing room, and Paul Lydell and Jack Pyers from Dirty Looks are standing right in front of me, and I'm going, oh, you're Paul and you're Jack from Dirty Looks, and I was just on my way to go see you. And they're like, well, we're here to watch you before our show. So they came to the show, and I think they called my manager, and my manager had put them on our guest list, and I didn't even know. So they're in my dressing room, and I open the door. Dude, what's up? So hung out with them a minute. Anyway, we all went back over to the back room together, and they've been friends ever since, obviously. So weird.
So you played Brooklyn on that tour
with LA Guns?
Yeah.
Do you remember the venue?
L'Amour's.
Oh,
Oh,
Lamorse.
Lamor's,
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh,
That's
I
yeah.
was
right.
at that show.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I was at that show. Yeah. It was
That's right.
packed. Packed.
Yeah,
It was the most packed I ever saw L'Amour's.
yeah. That tour was amazing. Played the Orpheum Theater in Boston,
Mm.
and Westwood One recorded it. King Biscuit Flower Hour people. Yeah,
That was a
Oh, yeah.
great show. Yeah.
yeah. Had a blast. Learned a lot. It's great.
So now everything's
That
over. Does Columbia say, "All right, get your ass back in the studio"?
No, we did the Junkyard tour in September, right after LA Guns. We did Europe and the UK with Faster Pussycat and the Almighty, which were both on the Monsters
Oh,
Rock
love the
cruise.
Almighty. Love the Almighty.
Yeah, all original guys.
Wow.
It was like, wow, I hadn't seen you in 40 years hugging the Scottish madmen that are the Almighty. And yeah, man. We came back from that for Christmas holidays, and then we started New Year's Eve with the Cult Sonic Temple tour
Oh
at
my God.
Long Beach Arena. It was Dangerous Toys, Bonham, and the Cult.
Wow.
New Year's Eve, which December 31st, '89. So in the first week of January of '90, we're on the West Coast, up and down the West Coast with the Cult, and we
was
went
that
all the
arena
way.
because that was the album that put the cult over. Was that an arena
Yeah,
tour?
yeah, that
Yeah.
was our first real arena tour, and we did. I don't know if we did too many of this. I think we did a couple of large theaters, which we had just
Yeah.
done with LA Guns as well. A couple of large theaters, but mostly arenas. And like we did Nassau. I'm thinking East Coast stuff. We did something in Poughkeepsie, I think. Anyway, it was a great tour. Once again, learned so much, and yeah, it's great. And then we ended around April, I think, of because it was the second leg. January, February. No, it wasn't April. It was probably early March or something. We had finished up because they would take breaks, and then we had Gimme No Lip. To your question,
Mm.
new hellacious material. We had Gimme No Lip. We had parts of Angel and You. The
Did you
bulk
know
of
you
it,
had a
what?
banger with "Gimme No Lip"? Did you feel like it
Oh, it
could
was
have been?
just so fun. It was just Sporting a Woody Part 2. That shuffle.
Oh, it's
We do we
great.
do
It's
that
great.
really well. That's that she's a roller. Yeah, that vibe. We love that vibe. We could do that vibe all day. And so yeah, Gimme No Lip was a no-brainer. Angel and You is kind of this like dirty rose tattoo dirge
Oh, love
hard
Rose
rock
Tattoo. Yeah, yeah.
bluesy thing, and yeah, and then we went home. They wanted us to go home, and they said the window of opportunity. We wanted to stay out with the Cult, and the Cult wanted us to stay out with them, and we were handpicked by the Cult. And they saw a teasing video, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got to get these guys. These guys are like New York dolls riding fucking horses in Texas. We got to get. This is like heavy metal fucking Hanoi. And and the label was like, no, you got to go home and write. And I said, well, hold on a second, because I didn't think we were ready. They said, I said, well, hold on a second. Are we selling units? Oh yeah, your records are flying out the store. Okay, cool. Merch selling, or merch table doing good. It's like, oh yeah, some nights you were out selling Bonham, and then maybe a couple times, you're doing well. And it's like, okay. And and so you're making money? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So you want us to do what again?
Right, right. Why would you kill what's going on now?
I mean, we're talking 3 weeks. Another 3 weeks. You want to pull this. We just weren't ready for it to change. It's too. Finally, it's going really great, and then it was like there was this window they wanted to catch, and maybe they knew something that we didn't know. But I feel like hell. I'll go to we record the record with Roy Thomas Baker. The record is not what we feel like it could have been. I feel like Lip and Angel and Gunfighter and Best of Friends and Line 'Em Up, Sugar Leather and the Nail. There's 6 tunes. That's most of the record.
Yeah.
Were really good.
Sticks and Stones is a great song.
Yeah, okay. I'll take Sticks and Stones, but it didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't really go didn't pop.
Yeah.
So whatever's left over, the 2 or 3 or 4, one's a cover with "Feel Like Making Love."
Was that pushed on you?
Which we never played live. Me and Danny, the guitar player at the time, were jacking around with it in rehearsal one day, and Roy walks into the rehearsal room. He's like, "That's on the record. That's going to go on the record." And we looked at each other and we were like, "What? We're just fucking around." And he kind of pushed it. He had some good brawl about it, and we just said, okay, not all of it wasn't the unit, the full unit didn't let it. They fought it a little bit. It was 2 or 3 of us that were just like, I don't know. But we transposed it so when it got into the chorus, I was in that voice that everybody knows, right?
Yes.
Because I love Paul Rodgers, and I can sing a Paul Rodgers
and it was
pretty well.
And it was your singing voice. It wasn't the high, the high.
Yeah, so
normally do.
we upped the song to a higher key. So when it did reach into the chorus, I was in that.
Yes.
I was way up there as opposed to "Feel Like Making Love."
Right. Laid back.
Yeah, which I preferred to do it because I like the original idea, and it would have showcased me as a singer. And
the same thing with Roy Thomas Baker. Did you pick the guy, or did Columbia sign him to you?
It was kind of the same thing. He was on a list, and Max was brought up, and if you insist on Max, we can go. We should have gone with Max. In hindsight, I try to say no regrets, move forward. But in hindsight, I think that Max already knew he could have taken those songs that were a bit sideways and probably done something with them, I feel like. Because Roy, that's great, let's go.
He moved on. He just moved on.
Yeah, he didn't really have a whole lot of, he was a very different type of producer. His ideas in the studio were fun, but they weren't serving the songwriting. So, it just tells you how good Queen and Journey and Cheap Trick really were, and Bad Company. And that's another thing. Roy produced the Bad Company record with "Feel Like Making Love" on it.
Right.
Whether he had points on the song or not, I don't know.
You never know.
No wonder he wanted us to record
that he pushed it. So now you go out on tour on that, and now is it the same thing? Co-headlining tour? You opening up, or you're headlining the shows? What's the deal now?
Same idea. We did a run in clubs on our own and did well, and we got a call for a summer tour, Operation Rock and Roll, with Judas Priest, Alice Cooper, Motorhead, and Metal Church. And after I cleaned the shit out of my pants that I was going to get to tour with my idols, I realized, so wait a minute, you're going to stick this boogie rock band in between Metal Church and Motorhead. It's going to be some hard work.
You feel you should have opened?
Well, I don't know. Metal Church opened every night, and I don't remember any complaints from Metal Church camp about, why is this, why are these glam fags on the bit, what? There was nothing. There was no derogatory. There was no, there was no flack from anywhere or any. It was, everyone got along great, and I knew the Metal Church guys because Metal Church on their first tours came through Austin, and my friends' thrash metal bands were on the bill. My band Watchtower never got on a bill with Metal Church, but I met the guys, and they still had some of the same crew and shit. So here I am 5 years later on tour with Metal Church going, dude. And they're like, dude. Pretty small world, you know, and you kind of look at it all. And I had met John Marshall when he was Kirk Hammett's guitar tech on the Master of Puppets tour. I met Metallica on the Kill 'Em All for One Raven Metallica tour, August 24th, 1983. And that tour came through Austin. I befriended Metallica and Raven and wrote letters. Me and James Hetfield were pen pals. Have all that shit framed. And anyway, so, you know, Metal Church, you know, all of that, those Anthrax, you know, everybody was coming through Austin on their first tours, whether it be 83, 84, 85, 86.
Everybody was a road dog then.
Yeah, King Diamond, you know, Fatal Portrait tour after Merciful, you know. But I saw Merciful Fate, Exciter, support Motorhead in 84, Watchtower open for Slayer in 84, usually in the same venue in Austin. Open for Anthrax at the Ritz in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I met all these people that I bump into periodically going, dude, you know, first name basis, Scotty, and I just, hey, dude, hey, Jason, what's up? You know, it's crazy. And I was just a kid, you know, we kind of came up together as sort of fond from beyond. You know what I mean? We're never close or anything, but just like, dude, so, you know, that kind of thing. It's great. It's been no complaints. So here I am out, and Metal Church is opening for me. It's pretty like upside down when you ask me as a Metal Church fan.
Not to cut you off. Why did they? I would think, you correct me if I'm wrong, Metal Church was the more established band than yours. Why did they have them? I would think they would have gotten the biggest slot and had you guys open.
Now you're talking a numbers game, right? We were out selling.
You would sell more units, basically,
and that's the scale they were going for.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, Motorhead would give Priest and Cooper a run for their money on merchandise.
Right.
So it starts turning into numbers game and who's selling how much of what product, whether it be merch or records or. Yeah. So
I saw you guys in Jersey at I think it was Brendan Byrne at the time. Or the Meadowlands. It was either
yeah,
one.
Meadowlands. Yeah,
Meadowlands. Yeah, that's
we did.
That's where I saw you guys.
We did Weedsport. I could do some kind of racetrack thing in Weedsport, New York. I think I don't even know where the fuck Weedsport is. And yeah, it was a good tour. No matter what you hear, what rumors you hear, because a lot of people say, "Oh, that tour was a last ditch effort," and I'll agree with that a little bit because it was all Sony bands, right?
Right.
And you know, they were making room for what was hot on the radio, which was a lot of music out of Seattle, and you know, this is just a new style coming in and a slightly different. It's all rock and roll to me. I mean, I love Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, and there's a lot of Nirvana stuff that I love, and it's just rock and roll, man. These guys are just
in the long run, yes,
it's fucking rock and roll.
Right. But it was what is the taste of the time. That's what they say. That's what killed hair metal. What killed you guys? What killed all that heavy metal itself, because that's what people were into at the time. That's what.
Yeah, I disagree with a lot of that. I think hair metal killed hair metal because they were signing a bunch of crappy hair metal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think grunge killed grunge for the same goddamn reason.
They were just out there signing anybody that can play.
Oversaturation.
And in actuality, rap killed all of it.
Well, there's a recent discussion that Billy Corgan had on his show. I forget who he was talking to. It might have been, and I don't know, I might be speaking out of turn, but Charlie Benanti said something about it where he fully agreed with Corgan about how there was a switch at MTV where it was like, okay, we're going to move these loud rock bands out of the way to make room for hip hop.
Right.
rap,
It was
whatever.
old Yo MTV Raps then.
It was a big, yeah, it wasn't so much Headbangers Ball anymore. It was Yo MTV Raps or whatever. It was
Right.
really the beginning of the end of MTV, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Not necessarily just because we're tired of this hard rock, long hair, party dudes, heavy metal headbanger shit. We want some color and some, let's vibe this out a little bit. It's selling more. Let's sell some more cologne. I don't know. What the, it
No,
was
it's
fucking weird.
Sneakers.
Yeah, whatever it is. And that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine because they're the ones with the bags of money, not us,
Right.
So you guys do. I don't own that network. You guys do whatever you want. Decisions being made on the golf course, I don't have anything to do with. So but a lot of people who were selling records and doing good, who had really good management and stuff, were their eye level with. They're going, "Oh, do you see what's happening? Am I the only one that see?" So there's been some recent discussions about that flip, and the thing is like, hey, be who you want to be. If you change your wardrobe just because the cool kids at school change their wardrobe overnight, go right ahead, man.
Yeah.
But I've looked like this and dressed like this for 50 years of my 61 years. This is, I like music. I'm not going to dress to fit a certain style.
Be the fashion.
If I'm going to go see Jay-Z, I'm not dressing any different than this. But, and if I'm going to go see Taylor Swift, same. Lady Gaga, same.
Right.
I'm going to be me all the time. But I find more and more ways to fall in love with different styles of music on a daily basis. I'll hear some shit on a movie. I'm like, wow, that's really great. What is that? It'll be just this ethereal shit, one note for a really long time with this like female vocal. I'm in a trance. I'm going, that's the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that emotionally connecting with me? See what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's what music should do. It's not an accessory. So the people that want to sell you with, put something in front of your eyes, look, a squirrel, that's fine. Ooh, that smell. Ooh, shiny. Ooh, I like that. Just especially now in the digital age where everyone's just got their head bowed down to the digital god.
Right.
You can't win. So, and it's saturation that kills saturation. So you have to like throw a blanket over another blanket to get anywhere in life in this world. So
now coming towards the end of Operation Rock and Roll, did you guys go out on tour again, or what? Did you get an announcement from Columbia that they were going to cut you? How did that work out?
No, we went home and started writing and wrote songs that would end up being on the third record, Pissed, wrote songs that ended up on the recent release of Demolition last year on Cleopatra, and wrote like 50 more songs than those. So there's 10 or 12 songs that are on those two releases I just mentioned. So ultimately, the reviews have been leading to the idea that the songs on Demolition very well shoulda, coulda, woulda been the missing link between Hellacious Acres and Pissed. So in here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not really wrong. But what happened was we come home from Hellacious Acres and we start writing, and we're demoing, 4-track machines, Fostech, Tascam machines, little 8-track home studio recorders. In a jam room, we're writing songs, we're recording them, we'll write 3 or 4, mix them, send them to management. Management disperses them to the label. And that happened for a year and a half, 2 years-ish kind of a thing. And every time we would wait by the phone for management to call and go, nope, they said the same thing. Nope, keep writing. Nope, keep writing. Oh, that's pretty good. Keep writing. Nope, keep writing. Well, after you write 75 goddamn songs, you're like, okay, stop. Just fucking stop. Can we just fuck off so we can go make a record? Because we're ready to make a record, and you're the thing that's holding us back. And they're like, you know what? You guys, this is Columbia. You guys have been so great to work with. It's no problem, man. That's cool. We didn't know what to do with you anymore because we're focused on other shit. And like, duh, right? And so just let us go. And they owed us money anyway. So they paid us the money they owed us, and we got paid to go away.
Oh wow.
I mean, it was money they owed us, but
You think it
that's,
became a write-off to them in that sense?
oh shit, I don't know. But they were totally fine with whatever losses, whatever, they were fine. But they
And
owed us money,
Jason,
is
you
the
think it was
point.
of the
So,
time too that things were changing music-wise too that you guys weren't the flavor of the month then?
well, maybe, I mean, whoever is sitting at the war table listening to our demos, whoever the fuck that, we don't know who's listening to our shit.
Right.
It might be somebody that doesn't know what the fuck it is they don't know. They may not even
Right.
have any background,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, there's so many studio executive heads that it's a rotating, someone new every week.
Interns is what I
Right.
like to call them.
Right.
That's probably who's listening to this boogie band from Texas in 1992, writing a hard rock song, trying to figure out their next play and just trying to make a fucking record, you know. And so we get let go. We pick the songs that we called the songs that ended up being the Piss record. In 94, we get Paul Idell on guitar. We go into a studio in the Warehouse District in Southern California somewhere, and we record Pissed.
Yeah,
And we were,
the Office, Van Nuys,
that's
California.
right, that's right. Probably not that far from Sound City. And
And now you get Billy Sherwood, who
yeah,
was
Billy
way
Sherwood.
out there, with Yes, if
Yeah,
anyone knows who Billy Sherwood is.
yeah.
So how did Billy Sherwood come into your atmosphere?
It was through our management. They knew Tom and Billy, and they just sent us out there. And those guys had made some records with a couple of their other artists, and these guys are good. You're going to get along with them great, and they were right. So Tom Fletcher and Billy Sherwood. Tom, we did all the work really with Tom. Tom was the engineer. Tom was a lot
Okay.
of fun. And Tom actually came to Austin and produced the artist formerly known as a record here in Austin without Billy. So anyway, so Billy mixes and is the overseer, but we saw him once a week, and we saw Tom every day. We make the Pissed record. It's a great fucking record,
Hmm.
and
Did you shop
and
at EMP or did they pick it up automatically?
no, it was on DMZ Dose Records out of Austin, Texas,
DMZ, right, right, right,
which
right.
is an affiliate of Antone's Records, which was a blues label here in Austin, independent. And Scott and Mark from the Toys were working at Antone's, just in the shipping department or mail room or whatever. And they were like, "What are you guys doing?" "Well, we're about to make a record." "Oh shit, you got a label?" And they had a subsidiary, and they were like, "Just put it on our label." We were like, "Fucking awesome," because they had distribution. It's cool. So we just homegrown, man. It's cool. And then EMP didn't do anything until much later. EMP was like just a few years ago. So that was
Yeah,
a
was that the
reissue.
reissue then?
It was a reissue, but I have a funny story about that. We did tour the Pissed record. We did a lot of shows on the Pissed tour, and it was basically clubs and small theaters and things like that. And we come back from recording Pissed, and Mike Watson, bass player, decides to not do the tour and go to trade school because he's fucking broke. I don't blame him. Paul had just moved from the East Coast to Texas to be in the band. Makes the record with Mike on bass, and we get back, and Mike has to leave to go to trade school to get a job, and la la la. That's fine. We call Michael Hannon from Salty Dog to move from L.A. to come and do the Piss tour. So we do the Piss tour with Mike Hannon on bass, and we get home from the Piss tour. And Mike Hannon is from Columbus, and he goes home to Columbus, and we start writing the artist formerly known as record. We released with Tom Fletcher. We wrote that. We released it. I'm on bass. I wrote the songs. Me and Paul and Scott wrote all the songs. I'm on bass. Didn't have a bass player. We can write a record without a bass player. I'm a bass player, remember? So
Right.
the band sounded different. We had lost key, sound, songwriting partners with Watson. He was a bass player. He was a main songwriter, lyrics and everything. And here I am playing bass. I attack it different, a little bit. It's different. It's a little bit different. And so the song starts sounding this kind of weird way. We ran with it. We just went with what was happening. And whether it be trend following, whether it be, hey, let's just write whatever comes out. Let's not try to just rewrite Tease and Pleasin' and Sport and the Woody and Queen of the Nile. Let's just fucking go nuts. So we did. Because in 1995 and 96, the costume that hair metal had created, we didn't want to wear that anyway. You know what I mean? It was like not that we were trying to suit up and, dress that way anyway. We looked more like bikers than we did Poison,
Right.
So the point was to just make a fun record, and so we did. And the tour got cut short. The label went belly up, not because of our record. They just closed up shop while we were on tour. Total Spinal Tap. We're showing up to do in stores. There's no product, and the store manager's like, "Who are you guys again?"
Oh,
it's like,
no.
Well, I don't see any.
And you're
pulp.
scheduled.
Yeah, and I don't see any pulp. And the tour manager's going, "What the fuck, dude?" Getting all mad at him and shit. And tour manager calls the label, and they're like, "Oh, they didn't tell you? Yeah, we're closed. We lost distribution. So we just went home." So it was weird. It was a weird time. In '99, we got an offer to play with Alice Cooper, which me and Tom did.
Yeah, we didn't freeze.
You know what? You froze on my side. That's
Okay.
funny.
Okay. But me and Tom did not freeze. I have Tom as a witness.
All right, good. I'm
So
not
Definitely
frozen.
not
Look, I'm moving.
yeah. So anyway, we did that Alice Cooper show, and we got Mike Watson to come back. He was ready to come back. So anyway, so it's been like that ever since. So it was only a lull in time between, just for those couple of years there. And so we started playing out again, and as the somewhat original band, and it's been the same ever since. So in '99, here's the funny thing. In '99, Cleopatra bought the rights, the license perpetuity deal for those two Antone's DMZ records, Pissed and The Artist Formerly. They bought them. They own them. So they started doing reissues, and then my buddy Tom Hazar and David Ellison started a label, EMP, in like, I don't know, 2014 or some shit, and started signing all their friends. Well, they wanted to do a reissue, and I was like, oh, well, Cleopatra's, that's done. They're done with that. It's fucking 10 years later or whatever, longer. And they put out, CDs and vinyl and picture disc and shit. And I get a call from Cleopatra after they had already pressed all this shit and put it out. And because I put it up digitally and everything. And they were like, Cleopatra's lawyers called me, and they were like, "Hey, Jason, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, hey, dude, what's up? So, can you take all that shit down?"
Oh, no.
I was like, "Wait, what?" And they go, "Yeah, I mean, our contract is a perpetuity deal, and, we're not really that mad about it, honestly. But, yeah, you need to stop production and pull those digital files down." And so we did, and I called DMP, Tom and David, and just told them what the deal was. Like, who knew it was a perpetuity deal? Which, by the way, probably wouldn't stand up in court. It's
Probably
my music.
not.
It's my fucking songs,
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, they're not stolen. I mean, they have paper, so it's all good. So now, Cleopatra just wants, they want to just put out records. They don't really care.
Can we talk a little bit about now, the way it's written is the R, like artist, but if you think of it, you can think of it as anything else other than the artist. So now, was it just a parody, Jason, or were you Prince fans that you wanted to do the album cover this way and think about it this way?
Huge Prince fans.
Okay, so was it, so in your eyes, it wasn't a goof that you were doing this?
Well, no, it was a goof because, you remember at the time Prince wasn't even going by Prince.
Oh no, it was like X, and yeah, he had his mouth covered. It was a big, it
Well,
was a
he
big
was going by a symbol.
symbol.
Yes.
So somewhere on Dangerous Toys, the artist formerly known as Dangerous Toys, there is a symbol, and it's a D and a T, and it's got a squid and everything on it. That's our symbol.
Okay.
But we just didn't want to put the symbol up there. It wouldn't have made sense. But it does say it says Dangerous Toys, but notice the original logo, like his shirt and on your backdrop there, nowhere found on it.
Right,
That's to tie in. That's so it can tie in with the Love Sexy art. Instead of Prince naked on the cover with a bunch of daffodils and shit and orchids and shit, it's our clown in the same position.
It must have been a lot of what the fuck is this with a lot of people when they saw that cover.
As well when they heard the songs, which
Right,
is why we did that.
Yeah, because I felt that now too. It was you were going to the Stone Temple thing because you use the megaphones right on certain tracks.
Distorted vocal, not
Yeah.
megaphone, but yeah, microphone plugged into a distortion box.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So you were going the way of the genre.
Not on all of the songs.
No.
But a couple of them. Yeah. Oh, we were doing all kinds of stuff. I remember I brought in every guitar pedal I could find and a bunch of cables, and it reminds me of like something Bootsy Collins used to do, but I plugged in probably 15 pedals and just turned them all on just to see what would happen because I'm playing bass. So I'm playing bass through like 15 different kinds of guitar pedals and trying to just, no rules. Not wearing a costume, no uniform, unexpected. Standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to swan dive, not knowing what lays beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a blast. And that's all it was.
And that's your longest album too, 55 minutes.
Yeah, and the label was, an independent label, was absolutely cool with this, even though they fucking went belly up, So, yeah, it was a fun record. There's some great fucking songs in there. Some of my, I got to say, I love songs like, on the first record, I love songs like I'm Proud Of, Bones in the Gutter, Queen of the Nile. Lyrically, sonically, arrangement, I think those are two things that I've written. Scared is really cool, too.
Right, yeah.
There's a couple things maybe on Hellacious Acres that I'm proud of. But I gotta say that I wasn't extremely happy with my songwriting until the Pissed album. I know that sounds really strange. And some of my proudest moments are also on the artist formerly known as. I wrote Transmission. It's kind of the ballad on the record.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting on the artist formerly known as that we get softer than any record previous, and we get heavier and faster than any record previous. So we had really stretched out, i.e. no fucking rules.
Right.
No fear. Who gives a shit? We don't care. And
yeah, because you had Tom Fletcher working with you again on that one too.
Yeah, and there's no machines or anything. It's still a 4-piece rock band rocking out because I was playing bass and singing, so 4-piece. And we toured as a 4-piece, and that was also something that might have looked weird to hardcore fans. There's no lead singer hopping around grabbing his cock.
Right. Where you were, you were the front man the whole time, and now you
playing a bass.
Yes, yeah,
yeah, and I'm not going to wear a headset. So.
And how are the booking dates on that those gigs?
We did about 3 weeks, and then, like I said, the label went belly up, and so we just went home. We may have played our way home for gas money,
Right. So then what comes after this now? Do you guys take a break?
Well, I'll reiterate. So it was, we came home. It was 96. So in 97 and 98, we didn't play anywhere. We didn't do anything. In 99, we got the call from the promoter friend that I have who was booking Alice Cooper in Dallas. And I called all my guys and I was like, hey, let's get Mike Watson and go play this Alice Cooper show. And they're like, yeah. So it was the 2 years between. So 97 and 98, we didn't do anything. I formed some other bands. Broken Teeth was formed around that same time. I was in a band playing bass, ironically playing bass and singing, called Godzilla Motor Company. You can find that. That's streaming. You can buy that CD on Bandcamp. Godzilla Motor Company, G-A-H-D, Zilla, Godzilla, because if you spell it G-O-D-Z, you get a cease and desist, my friend. Yeah, and that's some of the best metal I've ever written. Godzilla Motor Company. So it was I stayed busy the whole time. Busy. And so here I am with Godzilla and Broken Teeth. The Toys get back on the horse and start playing out. So, yeah. It's never ended for me. So between, I think it was the early 2000s, I got on a couple of cruises. Shiprocked is the first 2 cruises I did with Broken Teeth, not Dangerous Toys. And then now I think the Toys have done like 10 or 12 of them now.
Mm-hmm.
So we do that, and the Toys play, 5 or 6 times a year, sometimes a little bit more than that. And it's mainly fly-in dates, festivals, and shit like that. Hometown gig.
Those are long gone. The 10, 20 dates, those are long gone for you now.
Can't make money. You spend it all getting there and getting home and
with the hotels and everything, yeah.
Yeah, because I ain't rooming with anybody. I'm an old man. I need my own room. I don't sleep in cat piss anymore. Hey, y'all can stay at my house.
Right.
Really? Right. You guys gonna do that? Fuck no. Fuck no.
And do you have a family? Do you have a wife and kids or anything like that?
I don't have any kids. I've been married 15 years. We have a little dog, and I live south of Austin, about 40 miles. In a little town called Lockhart, Texas, barbecue capital of Texas. I don't even eat barbecue, but it's the barbecue capital.
Are you
of
vegan?
Texas. No.
Oh.
I mean, what am I saying? I ate barbecue the other day, but I eat barbecue twice a year. I eat barbecue twice a year. You see what I'm saying?
I gotcha. And let me ask, how'd you get the call for Accept?
No, it worked. It was pretty much the same thing that happened with Armored Saint. It happened with Armored Saint twice, but yes, Accept it happened first. I got a text from a friend of mine that says, I'm having morning coffee, and I'm reading this text. It's from a buddy of mine. He's like, hey, man, can you still sing Accept? Can you sing Accept? That's all it said. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. You know I love Accept. Fuck yeah, I can sing the shit out of Accept. When are we forming our new Accept tribute band? Which is exactly what my brain said.
And you've done an Accept song on a tribute album, right?
Because I would be down to be in an Accept tribute band. That would just be the most wicked fucking thing, man. Anyway, yeah, Watchtower used to cover Accept all the time. And ironically, Dangerous Toys has opened for Accept a couple times when they had Dave Reese on vocals. So, anyway, I text him back and, pretty much what I just said. And he goes, no, man, their singer is sick and they need somebody. I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, here, call this guy. So I call Ed Aborn, which is a liaison to Wolf Hoffman. He goes, hey, man, yeah, Mark Ternillo is, he's sick. And they're starting to have to cancel a couple of shows, and they don't want to do that, man. So they need a fill-in. And I'm like, oh, shit. And so he puts me on the phone with Wolf. And I'm like, I'm not worthy. Fucking had posters on my wall, bro. Once I got over that, he's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm just getting over some upper respiratory shit myself. And he goes, damn. And I go, but I'm singing. I have a gig tomorrow. I'm singing. And he goes, well, I didn't say I have a gig tomorrow. I think I said I just had a gig 2 days ago or something, because fast forward, he said, you got anything to send me? I go, yeah, as a matter of fact, here's Fast as a Shark and here's Run If You Can. And it's my band Igniter covered Fast as a Shark and Watchtower way back in '99, when '99 was a hell of a year. I recorded Watchtower got together and recorded Run If You Can for like Rock Hard German magazine. They were doing a tribute to Accept and got a bunch of bands. Anyway, I had both of them. They're on YouTube, so just it's on YouTube. And Wolf played it for the band, and they were like, "Oh, we got to get this guy." Yeah, a couple of the guys, Christopher and Philip Schaus, Christopher Williams and Philip Schaus were both like, "Oh, we know, we've worked with Jason, we know, yeah, get him." And so the next day, I'm on a plane, and the gig is that night in Jim Thorpe.
You played Penn's Peak.
Penn's Peak, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Yeah. I have a poster over there. That was in 2022. October. I did the one show by myself, no rehearsal, no sleep.
Did you have a monitor?
I had a binder, like a school binder with lyrics printed out with giant font because I'm fucking blind. And sheets put into sheet protectors so I can turn the page with my foot with a book light clamped on it. That was my poor man's teleprompter.
Oh, wow.
Worked like a charm.
In front of your monitor.
Yeah. And then we're on our way the next day to Jersey or New York. We had a couple of Jersey and a New York day.
Probably maybe Starland, Tommy?
Can't remember.
Starland, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Jason, just to interject, I'm assuming this isn't like, when you're doing the set, it isn't like all the classic stuff too. It's probably like the new material
stuff too, right?
You have to learn.
There might have been 5, maybe more songs that are the Mark era.
Right.
Which, to be honest, I'm fairly unfamiliar with, right? Because I'm old and I love Udo.
Right.
I mean, right? So, I mean, I'm a longtime fan. So, yeah, I'm more familiar with the Udo stuff. But, phonetically, I knew all the Udo stuff. But, I needed some help. There's no rehearsal. So, back to Jim Thorpe at Penn's Peak, we did the full set as a sound check. That was...
Really?
We did like 18 fucking songs at sound check just so I could kind of feel out,
Wow.
Because I wear my heart on my sleeve. I told the guys, I go, look, the Mark stuff I'm really gonna struggle with, but they're like, fuck it, let's just play the whole set and we got your back. We know we know where your brain's at right now. It would be the same if we had to learn the Dangerous Toys set. That was Wolf's reckoning. He understood. He was like, what if I had to learn all your songs and I hadn't ever heard them before? It's the same fucking thing, and I would want to do a good job too. I would worry too. So just have fun.
Were you familiar with the Tornillo stuff, or was it totally like
very little? Very little.
Yeah, I was like first album myself when he first did it, and I'm like, after that, I'm spotty.
Yeah. So anyway, the next day, the promoter had cried and to management and said something like, "If Mark's not there, I'm canceling the rest of the shows." And we were like, don't do that. What do you mean? So they call Mark. That's a bold move anyway, to just say, fuck you, if you've got some fucking Texan punk-ass fucking butt rock singer being the singer, and it's not Mark who's from here. We love Mark. I get it. Hey, when I go see my favorite band, I don't want to see me. I want to see the fucking real singer. And I've tried to... I'm not worthy anyway. So I understand the fans' perspective, because guess what? I am you.
Right. You don't want to be the who the fuck is like, this guy?
Yeah, it'd just be like one of you motherfuckers getting up there and singing just as much as it would be me.
Right. Right.
Damn. And I tried to, any press that came along my way, I said exactly that. I said, look, put it in perspective. Okay? Think about it. No one wants to see Adam Lambert. They want fucking Freddie Mercury, bro. Well, he's fucking dead.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Right.
You're going to sing the songs because you love the fucking songs. You can think about Freddie while you sing those songs. So anyway, they call Mark, and they get Mark, and they say, what do you think about revising our set list to where you open the show? Because he still wasn't 100%. He might have been 50, 60% healing, right? And they talk Mark into coming, and they revise the set list. So Mark does a few, then he introduces me. We do one together, and then I sing a couple of Udo songs.
I
And
saw you
then
do
I bring,
Fast as a Shark with him.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did this sort of tag team thing, and we end the show Big Bang, where we're both out there singing and going to. There's videos. It's
Yeah, it's
fucking
great.
great.
Great. I wish I was at that gig.
Yeah, dude. And it was when Accept had 3 guitar players. They had Uva on guitar. And so there's like 7 dudes up there.
Cranking Accept.
It was fucking a metal army, man. It was pretty fucking epic. And fans, the way I see it is fans got something that they'll never see again.
Right. And how were you accepted at Penn's Peak? Were people cool with you or what?
There was very little of this, but there was a couple.
Yeah. The judgmenters. Yeah.
That's okay. I expected it.
Right. At least you didn't get a bottle thrown at you.
Yeah. Well, they missed, or I'm so blinded, and they were a bad shot, and I didn't see it coming. Anyway, the same story. John Bush got sick, and Armored Saint called me because they knew. It's crazy. Once Accept put out the press release, which is a mere hours before, maybe the morning of that show, that first show, put out a press release, and it was on blabbermouth immediately and fucking just on fire all over, broke the internet, right? I'm getting texts from John Bush and Todd LaTorre, 2 of my vocal idols, going, really, dude, Accept? Like almost bam, bam. They hit me.
Right.
They just texted me exactly the same time. And they're like, how do you know all the lyrics? Group text, take a picture of my stupid fucking poor man's binder, fucking stupid went to the craft store and made a teleprompter and sent it to them. They're like, oh, good idea. And it's not funny, but it's pretty weird that November, a month later, I'm out with Armored Saint doing the same thing.
And how many shows did you do with them?
I did 4, same run. It was the same Eastern Seaboard. It was the same thing. And Bush was there, was out the whole time with them then, and so he's watching. Like, really? Okay, just for the record, me or Tom did not freeze.
Not at all.
I'm just giving you shit, bro. Anyway, so let me
So
keep going.
you were a big Armored Saint fan yourself?
Huge.
Me too.
Huge.
I've seen them. I can't tell you how many times, and
Yeah,
I still they have a new album coming out. I love them.
Yeah. James Hetfield introduced me to John Bush. I was already a fan, and Metallica moved up to headlining, so I'm seeing Armored Saint and Metallica, and I sneak in the backstage door, and Hetfield and Bush are playing Nerf football in the back arena area. And I'm like, dude. And he's like, dude, hey, man, this is John Bush. And I'm like, oh, I know who that is. And so that's the first time I meet John Bush, and we've been friends ever since. Pen pal, the whole thing.
He's a great guy.
He's a super guy. And one of the greatest rock vocalists ever to walk the planet.
They're one of the greatest, and maybe the greatest American metal band, and
100%.
certainly the greatest American metal band that a lot of people don't even know. They've never gotten their true desserts, in my opinion.
Right, and if anything, only true metal guys know about the whole thing with Metallica asking him to be the singer. But if it wasn't for Anthrax, a lot of people wouldn't even know who the fuck John Bush is anyway. That way,
100%. Pretty wild how things work. Yeah. So anyway, I'm out there, and Bush is there, so I got to warm up with Bush. And he's taking steroids. He's trying to get better, but he's living on the bus. He's resting a lot. He's working out a little bit. He's building his voice back. And so at the fourth gig that I did for the closer, I think the last 2 or 3 songs, Bush suited up in his stage gear and came out and we sang the songs together.
Oh, wow.
Just like me and Mark did. And that was, again, something else. On a side note, they're the loveliest people, Armored Saint. They're the loveliest group of cats. If you've met them and hung with them, even paid meet and greet, whatever, they give you 100%. And they are such great people. And after I say that, I say this. They have invited me on stage probably 50 times. Every time they're in Texas and I'm in the room, so what, you coming up doing Deliver tonight? So you coming doing Madhouse tonight? What? And I react the same way, like it's the first time. I was like, well, you don't need me to do, you don't have to ask me to do. All right, give me the mic.
That's great. All right,
So
we're gonna wrap up.
They're just great. They're just great. But yeah, I got to do it with Armored Saint twice.
Wow, that's awesome.
I don't like it when my friends get sick and lose their voice, but I did.
So
it with Armored
what's
Saint
the
twice.
future now, Jason? What's going on with the coming up for the year towards next year?
Well, Dirty Looks is now called Hot Shot. The Dirty Looks 2.0 that we had. We started writing new material, like brand new original material, and decided to not use the name Dirty Looks anymore because it wouldn't be right. But it does have Paul Idell and Jack Pyers from fucking Dirty Looks, from those Turn of the Screw, Cool from the Wire. And the way those guys write together, it sounds like fucking Dirty Looks to me. So crafting material with these guys, now calling it Hot Shot with umlauts. Umlauts, look for the umlauts. We're writing a new record. It's going to come out on a record label called Kenyon Records. And hopefully by early next year, end of this year, we hope. We only have to write like 2 or 3 more songs. The lineup is Paul Idell, Jack Pyers, guitar and bass, me on vocals, David Beeson from Broken Teeth on guitar, and Dave McLean, ex-Machine Head, ex-Sacred Reich, S.A. Slayer drummer, Dave McLean. That's it, and it's fucking cool. There's 2 songs streaming now. One's called Catwalk, and one's called Digging for Diamonds. You can listen to them now. It's like a preview of what the rest of the record will sound like. And I'm doing that.
Where's it on?
Sorry?
What is it on? They can hear it. Where is it streaming?
Everywhere.
Okay. iTunes has it?
Everywhere.
Okay, good.
Hot Shot. Look for the umlauts.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm writing a solo record that is very imaginary to the soundtrack you would go to the skating rink in 1977, and you would hear Elton John and Jim Croce and David Bowie and ELO and The Sweet.
Oh, nice.
And it's very 70s storyteller. It's rock because it has drums, right? But it's very, maybe some Billy Joel, a little bit of Ziggy Stardust going on, but just very, very. But I'll just tell you the truth. I just want to rip off Elton John 70s Elton John. That's all
comes
I'm really
around,
trying
right?
to do.
Right, you came full circle.
All comes full circle.
Yeah.
His songwriting on those records in 1975 really changed my life, and really were a gateway to other things. Even I ended up with Slayer. You know what I mean? It was just, oh wow, music is anything you want it to be. You think about Elton and Alice and Bowie and even the Beatles and Queen. What kind of bands were they? Not one. They were kind of heavy and they were dark. They wrote ballads. They wrote ragtime. They wrote operatic shit. They wrote these 12-minute epic fucking journeyman songs. They wrote about personal shit. They wrote about dirty shit. They were, it's unbelievable when you kind of break it all down as to where we are when there's one band that just does this one kind of thing all the time. That's fine. But when you think about the real songwriters from the 70s. There's really an era from the late 60s till about 1979, maybe. That era of songwriting created what everyone else is sort of hearkening to. And I'm trying to be in the middle there somewhere with some solo stuff. I'm collaborating with friends of mine, and I've got 4 songs in the can, and I'm trying to write probably 5 more. But it's very different. It sounds like Hall & Oates before it sounds like Motorhead.
Look at the stuff that Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young wrote. I mean, the stuff that the Grateful Dead wrote in the early 70s. I mean,
shit's like prog rock.
Yes.
That shit is like prog rock.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of people don't put it. Oh,
I was born in 58, so I was old enough to the hippie movement onward. I took in everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm into Motorhead and I'm into the Grateful Dead and everything in between.
I call that omnivorous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Love it. Guys, I've had an awesome conversation with you guys. I could do this another 4 hours.
I'm glad you only stayed an hour.
That was 2 hours.
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Websites, any websites, Jason?
Yeah, just Google me. It's everywhere.
And what about Dangerous Toys? Are you selling merch on a website or anything like that? Are you doing any of that stuff?
DangerousToys.us.
Okay.
I'll say it again.
So Tom can get a legitimate shirt then?
No pressure. DangerousToys.us. JasonMcMaster.net. DirtyLooksMusic.com. WatchtowerBand.com. SASlayer.com.
KitchenSink.com.
Dude. Keep
now,
on going.
Slayer was the band that had the current bass player in Riot. It was
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So a year ago, just a couple days from now, S.A. Slayer played at Keep It True in Germany and I'm fronting the band. Their original singer passed away in 2006, Steve Cooper. He and I were friends. We share the same birthday. Here's the kismet. Weird shit again. It happens. It's weird, man. And when S.A. Slayer got asked to reform to do Hell's Heroes in Houston a year ago, March of a year ago, they called me and they were like, there's only one name on our list that was friends with Cooper, and it's you. You got to do it. I'm like, I'm already at the gig waiting on you guys.
Because they were a Texas band, right?
Yeah, so Watchtower and S.A. Slayer, as well as Hellstar and many other great Texas metal bands in the early 80s, we played shows together all the time around here. We create, you got the Bay Area thrash scene. There's a Texas area thrash scene, too, just like there is in Jersey and New York with Overkill and Anthrax and everybody else. Right, same shit. So all happening around the same time, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, and so on. So S.A. Slayer, before they were just called Slayer, and that's a whole other story, right?
They're the original Slayer, right? Didn't they have the name?
Well, there's obviously there's an L.A. Slayer and there's an S.A. Slayer at the same time, pre-internet kiddies. A lot of bands had the same name and they had to coexist until they ended up, the lawyers talking about it.
Right.
So by the time L.A. Slayer is coming through town and a promoter here in Texas says, what if we get S.A. Slayer, or just Texas Slayer is probably what they said, to open for Slayer, for L.A. Slayer, and it's Slayer versus Slayer. It's all on the internet. It's a whole thing.
Did the S.A. stand for San Antonio?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
that's
San Antonio. Yeah. So San Antonio Slayer, I am currently fronting. We've only played a handful of shows, but April 25th on all streaming, that show, basically a full live album, comes out on all streaming. S.A. Slayer, Prepare to Die.
Cool. I got to look for that.
It's called Prepare to Die Alive. And there's also a video from the gig a year ago in Germany that's out right now, a song called Upon Us, the End. So look for that on YouTube. So, yeah, I'm busy.
Cool.
Yeah, thank God.
Busy is good.
So listen, when you do the solo album yourself, please come back and we'll promote that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye now. Everybody, thank you so much again, Tom. Thank you for being my co-host. Jason, thank you so much. This was phenomenal. It really had a great time. Everybody, keep it heavy, keep it hard, and stay true to yourself. Thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.
Take care.